and I'm just getting old. I hate this stuff. This stuff is terrible. Hello everybody, I'm Ronnie and welcome to Show Me How Dad. Today we're going to learn how to replace a broken pipe in my sprinkler system. We're also going to take the opportunity to replace the inline valve. So this is what we got going on right here. We've got a broken pipe, and I'm going to take the opportunity to go ahead and replace the inline valve. It's about 20 years old. So the parts and tools we're going to have used today, obviously a PVC cutter. Here's our replacement valve, and then our fittings in PVC. So I'm going to set up the camera and we'll get started. So the first thing you're going to want to do is determine the direction of your flow. See this arrow right here? So that's going to determine, you put in the new one, you want to make sure you get the direction of the flow correct. Okay, so what we've got to do is we've got to cut the old one out. And the first thing I'm going to do is, this is a fairly new solenoid. The solenoid is what opens up this valve. So this is like a little servo motor inside here. It's got the electronics, it's got the power. Signal comes down, turns, and opens up the valve that's in here and allows the water to flow to the sprinklers. This one went bad not too long ago. So instead of having to rewire all of this, you can notice it's a fairly fresh wire. Instead of having to wire all this, I'm going to remove this solenoid and reuse it just as a shortcut. Obviously, if it's a 20-year-old solenoid, you would want to go ahead and replace it as well. It's still in pretty good shape. We'll set that off to the side. So what I've got to do is I'm going to dig back a little bit more, free up, maybe dig down a little bit more, a little deeper, give myself some working room. I'm going to cut. I don't want to cut back too far. I'm going to cut right here on both sides to cut this unit out, and then I'm going to be splicing in the new valve, and then I'll attach the old solenoid and then test for leaks. And once I know I don't have any leaks, then I'll bury it up, put everything back together, and we'll be on our way. Okay, so I've dug this out a little bit more, gave myself a little bit more working room. So we're ready to cut this pipe out. So we're going to, like I said, I want to cut over here as close as I can to save as much of this pipe as I can. It's better to have it longer and need to cut it back a little bit more than to cut it too short and have to try to add pipe to it. A 20-year-old pipe is fairly brittle. Okay, so that's the water that is on the sprinkler side that's coming back through. I'm gonna cut this back a little bit, get a little bit smoother edge here. There we go. Want a nice clean edge on that. Clean edge on that. Okay, everybody, I wanted to give you an update. It's actually 2 days later. So it turns out, and this just goes to show you, things can go wrong. And you know, you just deal with them. So it turns out when I was flexing this pipe up to get everything together, I actually cracked it further back. We were right here, and I've now had to dig back because when I was leak testing, I could tell the water was coming from back up in the dirt. And so it turns out this pipe, which is over 20 years old, really has lost a lot of integrity. So as I was flexing it up, I created a crack in the pipe, and once we pressurized it, of course it leaked. So what I've had to do is I had to stop that day. It was getting too dark, it was threatening rain, and I needed to get some additional connectors. So what I've done is I have a clean connector here, threaded connector that's going to go into my valve, and I've got some clean couplings. Basically what I've done is, this was not up to par. I didn't like the way it looked, so I cut back behind the crack to get to hopefully a better section of pipe. You can't see the crack in here, it's too small, but it was enough. But anyways, so what we're going to do is we're going to put in a coupling here, and we're going to put in our threaded, and then we're going to thread it in, and then we'll do our leak test again. Bear with me. What we're going to use is this PTFE thread seal tape. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to thread both of these on here. I'm going to tighten them down, and then I'm going to glue this one into position, and then we're going to splice in a piece right here with a coupling connector here, and then into the other threaded unit here, which will already be on this unit. So I'll start off by hand threading it, but I won't be able to get very far. These threads are pretty tight. So I wanted to show you what the valve looks like with both the threaded couplings on there. And then this is going to be glued in place right here. I'll need to primer it first inside here, apply the glue, and then seat this in here, and that will give me my final measurement here. Once this is at the proper depth here, I can get a measurement here and cut my pipe to fit. So I'm ready for the gluing, and I wanted to explain to you guys an adjustment that I'm going to make, or a change I'm going to make. I'm getting away from this rain or shine blue PVC, and I'm just getting old. I bought this when I was working on one of my rental properties because it was a wet environment, and it had been recommended to me by an employee of a big orange hardware store. We'll just call it that. And I forgot I hate this stuff. This stuff is terrible. My personal opinion, I've had more trouble with this blue stuff leaking, not properly sealing up, and I had forgotten that. It's been about 5 years since I've owned my rental properties, so I'm not getting any younger. I'm throwing this away as soon as I finish this video. So I don't recommend this. I forgot about it. Forget it. Erase it from your mind. What you really want to use is the clear. You can get the 2-pack just like I have a 2-pack. You want the purple, which is your primer, and you want the clear. This stuff dries extremely fast though. You've got to have all your fittings pre-fitted, pre-measured, ready to go. As soon as you apply the glue and you put it in, you have less than about 30 seconds before it starts to set up. You need to make sure you're in a proper position. You don't want to come in and be tilted. You want to be straight up and down. Whatever your situation is, if you're dealing with an elbow, a 90-degree angle elbow, a 45-degree angle elbow, and it needs to go a certain way, you need to make sure that when you put the 2 pipes together with this glue, that you get it in that angle as quickly as possible. It sets up really quick. I've never had any problems with it leaking, and I just simply forgot. So what I wanted to show you was the application of this. It's kind of almost a syrupy, little less viscous than honey. Syrup's probably a good one. There comes the sun. So we're going to dress the pipe here. Make sure we get a 360 degree. And then we're going to come on here with a lot of pressure. I'm going to come in. I'm going to make sure I'm straight up and down. Check your flow arrow. Make sure you get it good and seated. And it's already setting up. It's that quick. It's already getting stiff. I mean, that's that quick. It is pretty much set up. My next step is I'm going to make my final measurements and cuts right here, and then we will come in with a coupling, angle down, and come in right here. We'll have to work quickly because you see how fast the glue sets up. All right, so I have cut, I've pre-measured, and as you can tell, I've practiced putting this on. I'm not sure exactly how this is going to go because it's a pretty tight fit. I'm going to have to use a pair of pliers to be able to navigate this. I'm hoping my glue does not set up before I can get this completely implemented. I'll be honest with you. It's a pretty tight fit, but I wanted to show this on video because you guys are going to have to probably deal with something similar to this. So I'm going to apply my glue to both ends and work quickly. So I'm going to the inside here. To the outside here. This is the part that's got me a little worried. You'll see what I'm talking about here in just a second. So I've got to go in and go deep quickly, and then I've got to come here. Actually, I tell you what, the glue actually worked as a lubricant. Earlier, I was having trouble getting this to go deep enough to be able to go in there. Hence the plier marks. The glue actually, that's already setting up, folks. The glue actually acted as a little bit of a lubricant, allowed me to go in deep enough, come back into the pipe here. And we are set. That is not going anywhere. Hopefully we've got a good seal. I'll let this sit for a few minutes here, put everything back together, and I'll go pressurize it and check for leaks. And hopefully we're done 2 days later. Sorry about that. Of course, it's nothing for you guys. I just realized. You're right. So our repair is complete. I've got all of the grass and the dirt back in place. Over time this summer that will smooth itself out. The grass will take root again. We've got the sprinklers running. And we are back in operation. Thank you for watching to the end. If you enjoyed it, hit that subscribe button for me, please. And if you learned something, hit that like button so the algorithm will find me and somebody else can learn as well. Appreciate it, and thank you.